interrupt this program for a Waving News 10 special report.
We're going back out to I-64, a scene of a real traffic mess in Newport News, westbound lanes.
That's right. There's an overturned tanker. It has dropped hot mix asphalt across all four lanes. All four lanes are stopped, and as you can imagine, on a rainy afternoon like today, it's caused quite the backup during rush hour.
That live picture we're looking at right now gives you the scope of this cleanup going on right now. All those people down by the tanker dressed in yellow, they are trying to clean this up. This is hot mix asphalt sealer that was spilled onto the roadway according to VDOT, and traffic is backed up to Hampton right now, so you can imagine the difficulty getting around this area.
And one of the people down there on scene is actually our own Jason Marks. Jason, are you with us?
Yeah, guys, I do have an update for you, and I can give you some new information that we just got from Virginia State Police. Let me step out of the way real fast and show you what's going on. And you can see the tanker over there. It's straight ahead. It's on its side. As you mentioned, it was carrying a water-soluble asphalt material when it came up the on-ramp and then somehow flipped over. Now, we're told the driver of that vehicle is okay. Now, here's what has happened. They had to bring in a special crew from Chesapeake that specializes in cleanup. So they're here now. What they've done is, you may see the sand around. What they've done is they created a perimeter around the spill with this sand. And what they're doing is they have another truck here that's actually just soaking up all of this material and siphoning it right out. And they have the squeegees, and what they're doing is they're squeegeeing right towards that vacuum, that big vacuum cleaner, sucking up all the material. Then what they'll do is they're going to bring in another vehicle to get out what's left of that tanker. There's still material inside that tanker. What they'll do is they'll transfer that material out, and then they'll go ahead and right the vehicle, and then they'll get it out of here. Now, once it's out of here, the process is not done yet. I'm told then what they'll do is, once all the material is gone, they'll take sand and they'll sand the entire interstate here. What they'll do is they'll just try to soak up anything that's left, make sure it's not slick. Then they'll go ahead and clean up all that sand, sand it again, and they're gonna do that twice, the same process. And then they're gonna try to soak up again anything that's left, and then they'll clean it up. And then if there are no slick spots, then they'll reopen the interstate. But as you can see, it's a very tedious process. You had a lot of material. We don't know exactly yet how much they had, but it was a lot of material. And so they do have special crews from Chesapeake here soaking this stuff up. Now, as for the driver, we told you that he is okay. He was not hurt. I'm about to get an update from state police on the driver's name and if he's facing any charges. If what, I'll get that here shortly. And we'll also get an explanation from state police on exactly how this crash happened. We do know that the driver was headed up the on-ramp here on the 64 West from J. Clyde Morris. Something happened in the meantime to make him flip over. As we mentioned, though, they are diverting traffic. This would be an entire spin, but let's go this way and just quickly show you where they're diverting traffic off of 64, just to give you an idea. And you can see right there, that's the off-ramp to J. Clyde Morris, and that's where traffic is being diverted off. Now, as you can imagine, any little thing on 64 will back it up. We've had rain, we had this massive spill here, and so we've heard that traffic's backed up for miles, maybe all the way up to Mercury. But it really is a nightmare. But this cleanup process will continue, I'm told, from state police from several hours. It's a very tedious cleanup process. First, they got to get all the material up. Then they got to get the vehicle out of here, and then they got to soak up what's ever left to make sure that it's safe for drivers to finish their afternoon commute. But this is going to be, according to state police, another couple hours before everything's clear, guys.
You just answered my question, Jason, because state police originally said 4:30 in about 25 minutes. They're supposed to have that open, but the process, of course, much more involved. So from 1:30 until possibly, what, maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock, that section of interstate's closed.
Optimistic. Sounding by what Jason just told us.
Oh, we have some alternate routes too, because that's important. How do you get around this particular mess at this time?
VDOT has provided us with two. The first one is you take 64 West to Hampton Road Center Parkway. That's exit 261B if you're a numbers person. Stay on Hampton Road Center Parkway for about 2.5 miles, and then you're going to want to take a left onto Harpersville Road. Stay on Harpersville Road for a half a mile and take a right onto Jefferson. There's also another route that VDOT has suggested for you.
664 north to Jefferson Avenue and then get off on 35th Street. That'd be exit 5. And right now, Ann, we're looking at Hampton Road Center Parkway. That is not a pretty picture at this point.
No, and I think this is what we're going to start seeing now in all the other cameras, the residual effect of what's happened here on 64 West. Again, you're looking at the Harpersville Road overpass, this back up well past this exit. So the best thing to do is get off as soon as you possibly can and find that alternate route.
Try to avoid this area in general. Of course, whenever something like this happens in Hampton Roads, the residual effect is such that Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, Monitor Merrimack, all the routes that we have that are subject to these kinds of mishaps, the delays that can result. And we're seeing that now, and we still have several more hours before this will be reopened.
And we also want to remind you that there was a lot of rain. I know Don is here standing by. And Don, is that past for now?
Well, we've still got some scattered rainfall into that area, and it is moderate at times. There's heavier rain toward the Williamsburg area, and a little bit of lightning up toward Williamsburg, but again, not over that area. So I think we're looking okay for our live shot there for right now. Now, again, it's not hugely close by in terms of the lightning effect out there. It looks like it's to the north of Williamsburg for the most part. In fact, we'll zoom on in and show you what's going on. A little bit closer view. There has been certainly some rainfall into this area, and we're going to dive right into the area and show you what's going on. Now, obviously, we've got some lightning and thunder, and it's on up toward the Middle Peninsula now, toward the Achilles area, where we are seeing, and north of there, really, where we are seeing some of that lightning going on. But right on in, over the top of the accident, and of course, the source of the trouble, that's where we are. And again, we want to show you where everything is. We've got I-64, which is right here. And of course, what we've got going on is J. Clyde Morris Boulevard right here. That's where the accident has happened, obviously right on into here. And so they're rerouting traffic basically off of the interstate through the Cloverleaf right here. And then farther northward, we're just going to slide the picture back around. It goes up to Victory Boulevard, which is right here, the Victory Boulevard intersection, and then goes back on down toward the intersection. That is the detour route that we have for that particular area for right now. Now, again, there is where you end up getting back on 64 westbound on up toward Williamsburg. It's at Lee Hall in Williamsburg and points northward from there. Now, we're going to widen the picture back out, again, show you where we are, and also show you some of this rainfall toward the Williamsburg area, east of Williamsburg now for the most part, from north of Lee Hall toward Booth on up to the eastern edge of Williamsburg into the Magruder area, going across the river. Gloucester Point getting some lighter rain, but toward the Hayes area and Bray's Landing and Neck Sarah, that's where we're seeing some fairly heavy rainfall going on, and it's out over Matthews County and then out over the Bay. This area hasn't moved much, very much at all. Now I want to show you some other things, and I'm doing this just on the fly. Tom, you've got a question?
Yes. Jason's got an update for us, so we want to go back out to
Okay,
Jason.
good enough.
Marks,
Then
if
I'll
that's
show you some
okay.
routes here too.
Jason, what do you have for us?
We can, what's the question?
Do you want to do an interview with them too?
In a minute. Hey guys, yeah, we just got an update from state troopers. It's really hard to hear you because obviously all the trucks, the cleanup trucks, are making it very loud. But let's give you this update and let's show you the scene as we give you this update. Now, the state police are telling us that the driver is Dennis Smith from Chesterfield, Virginia. He's 29 years old. He's been driving with the company for only 3 weeks. Now, the company is Dominion Paving and Sealing out of Chesterfield, Virginia. Now, we're told that there were 4,000 gallons of that material, that asphalt water-based material on this truck. They believe that about 1,000 gallons actually came onto the roadway. So a pretty substantial amount. Now, as we mentioned, they're gonna bring in another vehicle to siphon out what's ever left, the other 3 gallons in that truck. We're told that Clean Harbor, a company that specializes in this sort of cleanup from Chesapeake, is here on the scene. Now, Dennis Smith has been charged by police. He's been charged with failure to maintain proper control of his vehicle. That falls under, according to state police, falls under the reckless driving category. And what they really think happened is that Mr. Smith came up this interstate, back towards the interstate, onto J. Clyde, came up the ramp, and then lost control, and that's where he ended up. Obviously, 1,000 gallons of this material. Now, the good news is it's water-based. It's not hazmat, so that's the good news. It's not hazardous at all. So what they're going to do is they're just going to, as we mentioned, soak it up. Now they haven't, obviously there's a lot of more vehicles heading up, more sand coming in right now to help soak up this material. But as we mentioned, Dennis Smith was the driver, has been charged with failure to maintain proper control. And this cleanup, as we mentioned, will take place for the next several hours. It's going to be a long process, guys. Obviously they have to get the material off the interstate first, soak it all up. Then they have to siphon out what's the 3,000 gallons that's left on that truck. Then they have to turn the truck up, get it out of here, and then what we told you, they have to sand the entire interstate again, clean it up, sand it again, and then they'll clean it up. And then if they see any slick spots, then they'll go in through that whole process again. But hopefully after that second time, when they sand the whole thing down to soak up what's ever left, hopefully at that point, then we're good to go. But this is still going to take another couple hours before it's clear.
All the details aside, the takeaway here, Ann, is going to be traffic, the major backups, and the time allowed for this to happen.
And I know that people say no one cares about, we're sitting in traffic. People like Stacy on her Facebook page saying my husband's been sitting there for 2 hours, running out of gas. We hear you, we feel bad for you, and we're trying to get as much information as we can to get you out of there. And
we're going to have much more coming up throughout this next hour or so. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see crawls. You have wavy.com. We'll be updating that as soon as we get information. Of course, Wavy News 10 at 5 with all our live reports and our traffic reports as well.
Jason also will remain on scene. He is going to bring you an update at the very beginning of our 5 o'clock newscast, so you'll want to be tuned in for that.
This has been a Wavy News 10 special reports. We now return you to our regularly scheduled program already in progress.